Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Freedom Podcast. Here with me, Emmanuel Cape. And today, our guest is a very amazing person I met in Tulum. Please welcome Oveous. How are you doing today?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for inviting me to your home here. It's a beautiful temple in the jungle close to Tulum. And for those who don't know you, maybe introduce yourself. What do you do? Where you from? Yeah, let us know a little bit.
Cool. So what's up, y'all? I'll talk to them since I'm answering this question for these folks. My name is Oveous. Born and raised in New York City. I'm someone who's passionate about writing and music, and through my life journey thus far, I found that through my passion, I've been able to connect with people around the world. So that's a little bit about me, and I mean, I can go into the random things like how I love Nintendo games from like the early days and stuff like that. But yeah, man, I'm just someone who's passionate about connecting with people. So that's pretty much me in a nutshell.
In a nutshell.
Yeah.
Thank you. And so, are you a musician? Are you a DJ? Are you a composer? Are you all of them? What's your description, if you could?
Um, I'm an artist, and um, I also like to identify with the different parts of me that project me outward as an artist into the public. So I am a poet, I'm a vocalist, I am a producer, um, I'm a DJ, and I love putting all those things together and just having fun with it and just constantly figuring out what to do next with it and so on and so forth. So yeah.
Nice. And would you say this is something kind of a new style of artists that you are going towards? Because there's the DJs, there's the musicians, but now we see those worlds like merge. Or is it something that now for the public it's like a new thing to experience? But let's say in back in the days in New York, it was most normal thing to be like an MC and be on the decks. And
Hmm.
what is your journey in that?
Yeah, I'm in an interesting place, and I have to give all the credit to one of my friends who passed away. His name is Voodoo Ray. He told me many years ago when I first started DJing. I started DJing professionally, like out in public, on my birthday, September 3rd of 2009. At that gig in Brooklyn, it was my boy Bradford James who booked me for the gig. Shout out to him for giving me the courage.
Hmm.
I was shaking playing that first gig. But it was after that first gig that my friend Voodoo Ray, may he rest in peace, he told me, he said, Ovius, like, your poetry is unmatched. It is your story, it is your voice. And if you bring that into your DJing, um, you will be unique. No one can be like you, and you'll have something unique to offer. And you'll stand out amongst these other great DJs and artists that are out there. There's so many amazing artists, as you know. So I took his advice, and it's been working out really well for me because I love spoken word, I love poetry, and of course, I love house music. And yeah, so to bring those two together has been great. And in the world of hip hop, those are two elements: the DJ and the MC,
Hmm.
which I am both, and I merge both in my shows, and it's quite powerful, and it's really a lot of fun for me too. It actually makes me it makes me really excited about showing up to gigs every time. Just knowing like, well, what's gonna happen this time? In Tulum, in Bali, and wherever I'm gonna go next. Like, how are they gonna receive this? So
Yeah.
yeah, it's cool.
Thank you. And do you like more like smaller gigs or bigger? I've seen you performing in Burning Man. I've seen you in like in big places, but also you played on the beach the other day with very intimate, maybe with like 100 people,
Hmm.
with your feet in the sand and your like vintage microphone. I love that. So, what do you prefer? Which like the locations that you like?
Man, honestly, oh, that's a tough question because they both have their magic, their own magic. So, I'm about to perform in Bali at Savaya, this place called Savaya for the first time. It's a place that hosts like 2,000 people,
Hmm.
and that's gonna be amazing, right? Like the energy of like 2,000 people screaming and all everyone together and on the energy. But there's a separation. There's a power to that and a loudness There's a power in the loudness and the amplified energy of that. But there's also a really beautiful power in being, like you said, on the sand with 50 to 100 people, and you just hear people screaming and letting things out. You could hear it.
Mhm.
It's so close to you. It's like right
Yeah.
behind my ear, or like right in front of me, and that is amazing as well. And it's those intimate shows are like super super dope. Like I will never stop doing those. Like they're just special, you know.
Mhm. And especially Tulum is a place like that where you have a lot
Hmm.
of intimate gigs. I mean, of course, you have the big festivals and so on, but every day there's like little mingling parties
Hmm.
here and there in Nomade or Cleo or whatever.
Yeah.
So you get so close to the people. I think that's also great to have this possibility for the people and also for the artists
Hmm.
to meet in this like very intimate space, like in the old days, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And talking about, you were saying about there's a lot of artists, I guess in USA, I mean, it's full of artists.
Hmm.
How was your journey on from becoming just an artist to becoming successful, traveling, being booked, being signed? What do you think made the difference so that you are sitting here right now and not stayed in New York City?
That's a good question, man. The difference, and this is the key. This is the key to anyone who wants to pursue the arts, as a part of your life. Like if you really want to make it a part of your life, it's not just a career, a job. It is part of your life. It's like any other ritual: waking up, brushing your
Hmm.
teeth, showering. It's like this for me. So, um, I mean, the story. I mean, it really started with um, my brother Carlos Paul Salcedo. He used to go by the name Zinc Blue, Hip Hop 3033, aka the El Tigrero. And my brother, he took his own life. He jumped off a bridge in the Bronx.
Okay.
All right, and so when he passed away, I went to his apartment to pick up his things, and I found, I don't know how this happened, but my hand was guided to way back on top of a closet. I couldn't even see up there, you know. I just was looking for things, and I found his book of writings. And when I read his work, I felt so sad. Strangely enough, not that my brother took his own life so much, but more so that he couldn't find a way to be happy in this world enough to want to share his brilliant work. So in that moment, I felt like there was some energy that baptized me and made me want to become a vocal artist again. And after reading those books, I changed immediately. Leaving that his apartment after cleaning his stuff up, I changed and I started to do the grind. I made a commitment, and I made that commitment with no fear. I lost my career. I have a degree in design,
Okay.
and after my brother passed away, all I could focus was on writing and wanted to perform around New York City. One of the biggest stages is the New Eurekan Poets Cafe. It's
Hmm.
a famous place. It's been there for over 40 years. And yeah, I got let go from my job. Um, and I just never looked back. I was living off of my savings. I had a nice chunk of savings from having this job as a designer in the fashion world, and I used to just book myself a ticket to go to an open mic in London, for
Okay.
instance, just to go to an open mic and perform for free. You know what I mean? And maybe sell some DVDs from my bag. Here's a DVD for 10 British pounds. Back then 10 British pounds was $18 US, so I could fund my trip this way.
Hmm.
I used to line up for 3 hours from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. in the freezing cold outside of the New Eurekan Poets Cafe just to sign the list of the first 20 people because the line would be long. And if you're not there on time,
Yeah.
you're not going to be the first 20 people to sign the list. I used to do that just to sign the list to compete at the New Eurekan Poets Cafe against 20 other poets. And I would lose every night the competition, but I was winning a lot of lessons. That was my stage training.
Yeah.
That's
Amazing.
why now I can command an audience like at the Apollo Theater, 1,500 people, or a festival with 30,000 people, or like Burning Man, whatever, or a beach, with 50 people, So
That confidence that it gave you, no,
yeah,
the failing, but
the
learning.
feigning was learning. It was the process, yeah. But the thing was, if you really love something, it doesn't feel like failing. Like, I used to lose and be like, damn, I gotta come back next week with something better.
Mm,
And it was fun. I couldn't wait for every Wednesday. Wednesday couldn't come around fast enough, bro.
nice.
And I did that for 2 years, showing up every day, lining up outside for 2 or 3 hours, and losing the competition. Until one night I won, and then when you win, you go up against five other poets who also won against 20 people,
Best of the best.
the best of the best. And that was on a Friday night. And then I started going through losing through Friday nights, and then eventually I won, and then yeah, I waited all the way to the championship, to the finals. Um, from 2002 to 2006, I made it in 4 years of just failing every single week, Wednesday and Friday, failing at the competition, but winning at the experience of commanding a stage, commanding an audience, connecting with people. People giving me tips like, hey, oh, when you start, like, say hello to the audience first.
Mm.
I remember a friend of mine told me that one time, and I was like, oh yeah. So then I started doing that,
It's
just be like
interacting, yeah.
interacting. Yeah,
Mm.
just walk up to the mic and be like, how's everybody doing? And people are like, oh, you know what I mean? You're
There's
talking
a
to them.
human.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a human, there's a person here, and they want to talk to me.
Yeah. So there is this concept of failing forward. I
Mm,
think what Denzel Washington, in this famous speech, was saying, "Fail forward."
fail
And
forward.
so, do you think that all these failures and all these dark moments you were talking about, do you believe that they gave you strength and direction and power to become who you are today and even who you want to become tomorrow?
Yeah, man, absolutely. I can't even. I'm so grateful for that experience, bro. For the New Eurekan, like I mean, it was my stage training, and it was so fun. It was a beautiful community.
Hmm.
Um, it was a beautiful time, and so much inspiration, so many poets that we all helped each other out. We were all sharpening each other's swords. Um, and it was a great experience. It definitely. I would not be the artist today if it wasn't for attending all those poetry slams.
Mm. And that very difficult situation, though, that happening with your brother,
Hmm.
do you say that also this kind of event made you grow, made you be who you are, even if it's such a sad story? But was
Hmm.
it helpful somehow?
Yeah, absolutely. It was the awakening.
Hmm.
I, I was very comfortable. I had this little office job. I was there every day, 5 days a week. 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Like sometimes staying 6 or 7 p.m. for a deadline. You know how it is in the office, and I was getting compensated really well and all that, and I wasn't ecstatic. I wasn't like jumping out of my seat for it, but
It
it was cool.
was okay.
It was okay. It was cool. I was
Yeah,
not mad at it.
decent.
It was decent. But when my brother passed away and I saw the power of his words, and I was like, damn, we have this in us. I knew I had it too.
Mm.
My brother was like just more advanced than I was. Like my brother was really like incredible with his words. But I studied his book and I did the training, like I said, for 4 years. And I think, yeah, that definitely gave me the strength to go forward. It was an awakening. And it also showed me that I did not have a choice anymore. Like I made the choice to not have a choice anymore, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
I made the choice to not turn around and be like, where's the next design job? No, it was like, this is what I'm going to do. Even if I become homeless, this is what I'm going to do. It doesn't matter. And I'm telling you, bro, I went from having, 6 figures in my bank account to about $600
Mm.
in the span of a couple of years because in those 4 years, like, they fired me in 2002. And by 2006, I didn't have a lot of money left. And right there, I had hundreds of dollars left. And I got booked for the Apollo Theater, the amateur night at Apollo Theater. It's a big show.
There was a breakthrough
It's,
after that.
yeah, because that was international. That was on
Okay.
television all over the world.
Yeah, I saw something. I did a little bit of research. I saw
Yeah.
some television gigs and stuff. So that's a really interesting point because I guess many artists are struggling with the same thing.
Hmm.
They want to pursue their happiness, they want to pursue their passion. They are, yeah, it's about to make money, but not yet. And so you come to a point where it's like you're getting so much better in your work, but you're not earning money. And there's 95% of the artists, and maybe they let go of their art in a professional way. They just do it on the side and they get a job during the day.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that? How did you deal with that pressure? Like that moment, like, oh my God, I have $300 or $500 on my bank account, but on the edge of becoming somebody. How did you get the motivation to do it?
I could answer that question with one word: trust. I trusted, bro. I trusted my talent. I trusted the energy I felt. I trusted my path. I just believed. I trusted and I believed. And because I believed, I just had trust. And it was scary, bro. Like, it is scary. You're like, oh my God, okay. Like, I'm broke now. I
I
got
mean,
six hundred
with
dollars in my
six hundred
bank
dollars,
account.
you're broke.
Yeah, yeah,
There's no,
yeah,
you're broke
yeah,
officially.
yeah. Especially too, like when you had, a really healthy bank account, savings
Mhm.
account before that. But I was happy. I was happy, and I just focused on getting better, and and then things just, it's I always use this metaphor too. It's like you have this seed, which is whatever the idea is,
Mhm.
right? You plant that seed, but you got to water it, and you got to show up to that plant, and you got to treat it right, and you got to show up for it. You got to give it sunlight, you got to talk to it, you got to embrace it. So it was a lot of that. It was a lot of like that plant. I planted that seed, and it was like I got to show up for it.
Mhm.
I have to
So
show up
is it
for
the
it.
commitment?
The
Like,
commitment.
is it the word commitment that makes you this plant grow, or is it like consistency? What is like for you the formula?
It is both of those things. That's very good that you said that. It is consistency, it is commitment, and it is that trust and belief that
Mhm.
you're gonna do it. You just have to keep doing it and showing up. Human beings are, even if you're not born with a natural talent, we're our brains, our minds, our spirit, our energy, our hearts are like so powerful. We're capable of doing so many crazy things.
Look what we have created here.
Yeah, yeah. Look at this, right? Like I'm from New York City, man. Like I've never been around trees like this, bro. Like we this look how organic. Like look at the shapes of those things. Like
Yeah.
I come from a place where everything is stern, concrete. You're from, Germany, you said, right? So
I grew up there. Yeah.
yeah, you grew up there, so you know how Europe can be
Concrete
as well.
jungle.
Concrete jungle.
Yeah.
And to come to this, to feel the energy of this nature is it's a beautiful thing. And yeah, it's all about like trusting the path and really showing up for it, man, and being relentless with it, like just working on your craft too. Because if you work on your craft and it's undeniable,
Mhm.
it's undeniable. It's just someone's gonna see it. At some point. You keep showing up, and people are gonna see it. They're gonna be exposed to it. They're gonna, and it just things fall into place. Like here in Tulum, I it was my homie Eduardo Castillo.
Mhm.
Very first night that I was here, it was me, him, and my brother Quetzal Guerrero. He goes by QVLN.
Mhm.
They had a show. Eduardo Castillo called me up, and I ended Eduardo Castillo's show with a poem. And all of Tulum was like, "Well, who's this guy?"
When was this?
This was January of 2021.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, magic what he does in Habitats.
yeah,
Wow, I'm a fan.
yeah. Me too. Yeah, yeah. He's dope for that, and like the fact that like he knew to trust me though.
Mhm.
He knew that I had put in. I've known Eduardo for like 20 years.
Okay, wow.
So we know of each other's work. Like he knows that I'm with Yoruba Records. Shout out to my brother Osunlade, Godfather Afro House. And it's there was a trust there because he knew the resume. He
Mhm.
didn't even need to see it. He just knows. He knows about Quetzal too. My brother Quetzal has been playing violin from those Japanese consortiums. The top places in the world is to study in Japan. For instance, he was there when he was 4 years old, 5 years
Wow.
old doing it, and he didn't even like it. It was like forced as a kid to do it, and then later on he realized like he does love this thing, this
Mhm.
instrument, how it connects with people, and that's what it is. If you're an artist, you first have to know that you want to connect with people, because
Okay.
that's what it's for. It's not about you or your ego and about you being like, look at how amazing I am. It's about, I have this thing that's amazing, and I'm going to offer this to you, and you're going to feel amazing too. And that is my gift. My gift is to give my gift away. That's what the gift is for.
Thank you. That's a nice way of
Yeah,
seeing it.
it's
Thank you.
real shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you say about you're talking about trust.
Mm.
I want to go deeper into that. Trust in what? Trust in life, trust in God, trust in a man with the white beard, trust in the universe. How, like, what is it for you, this major force that is pushing us forward every day and we pray to?
Wait, who's the man with the white beard? Is that like a god or
Yeah,
something?
something like that,
Yeah.
you know?
um, I believe if there is an entity of God, it's a woman. That's my personal belief. But I also believe that there is no God. I hope I don't offend anybody with that. But I say that because you are the gods. We are the gods. Collectively, our energy, we co-create this thing. And so if we are created in God's image, we are gods. And yeah, we have to respect the divine energy that runs through us all.
So it's connecting to that divine energy, actually, that
Mhm.
the creative energy that we have, that we with which we can create actually
Yeah.
and do things, make things happen. But we need to kind of trust and connect to it, right?
Yeah.
Do you do certain things? I mean, do you pray? Do you maybe yoga? What is your way to connect into it? Meditation?
I feel for me, it is meditation in different forms. Sometimes, sometimes me and my lady, we do breath work,
Hmm.
you know, and sometimes it's just me on a train or on an airplane alone, listening to some really crazy melodic song or something
Uh-huh.
just to take me to a trip somewhere. Sometimes it's medicine. Sometimes it's, a mushroom tea.
Nice.
Sometimes it's a jog through the park. It could also be a walk, a jog through the park, anything like that. Anything that, or a drive. Oh, I love, like when I'm just driving, dude. Because there was a time where I was doing a lot of college shows,
Hmm.
and I would drive like to these rural areas through the U.S., like
Hmm.
all just farmland for hours,
Wow.
from the airport to a university to do a show, and I would drive myself there, and it's just nothing but grass and just wind and just my thoughts, and like that's when I open up those channels to
So maybe it's the silence, right?
the
Or
silence.
not the silence, but the absence of like outer influences. You know,
Mm-hmm.
because nowadays we are always in social media and on the phone and
Yeah.
with people. So sometimes the noise can be so big that we cannot hear the voice within.
Right.
So it's finding this way at the gym or at the driving or in the meditation where you can just like listen to your own instinct, voice, God, where you
Mm-hmm.
can connect to that source.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. That makes perfect sense. You nailed it. Yeah, it's the silence. It's in the silence. Because, you know, i- if you're in a nightclub, right, for instance, very noisy, or in a concert,
Mhm.
um, your brain is being occupied by all that frequency,
Of course.
right? You're not gonna sit there and be like, what should I do with my life? What am I gonna do tomorrow? What am I eating for breakfast? No, you're in the middle of a concert, you know what I mean? But yeah, it's in that silence, man. It's in that silence because it's like you get all the clutter out of the way, you get all the distraction, all the other energy out of the way, and you make space for the silence. And then I think, yeah, that's where you channel stuff through.
Mm. And if you like, have you ever done something like men's work, like in a men's group, or you go to ceremonies? Like, what is your way to kind of work on traumas and belief systems? Do you have a certain way on how to update your operating system?
Yeah, so I think for me it's really some of the simplest things, like even living here, even finding this place and settling here, like it's in this peace. When I find this peace, I'm able to look inward, and also too, like I'm learning to listen better.
Hmm.
I'm learning to um, I'm learning about like things that trigger me. I'm learning about how to deal with those things and how to navigate through those things. So yeah, it's also too, like there's certain people that I'm really lucky and blessed to have in my life, like really close friends of mine who, um, like with QVLN, like when I talk to him, I can call him anytime and be like, hey man, you know, what it what's happening here? Can you tell me from your view, looking, this way,
Different
you know,
perspective,
a
right?
different perspective, and he'll check me. He's done that many times, and I'm very grateful for those friendships. So I haven't done many men's groups. I've done maybe one or two, and they are powerful.
Hmm.
But I also like love the one-on-one with really close people. I think that's very important to be open, to kind of humble yourself, and
And being
and to
vulnerable, right?
being vulnerable. That's the word I was
Vulnerable,
looking for.
that's the word,
Yeah,
yeah. Because I often as men, I feel we are shamed, shy, even like too proud to talk about our failures, our problems, our fears, our
yeah.
lowest points, especially with other men. Maybe
Hmm.
we share them with our girlfriends or with somebody that we're seeing. But with other men, we're like, oh no, I'm fine, I'm good, my bank account is full, even though maybe it's not the case.
Hmm. Hmm.
So finding that strength also with men, I think, is very liberating and very helpful and very healing. Because I think there's many men out there who have a lot of things that they would love to talk about with other men, but just they're too shy or too proud
Yeah,
to do it.
yeah. It's funny you just made me think of. I just wrote a new poem called Permission,
Hmm.
and it's. I just thought about what you just said, and makes me think of that. Like a lot of us, we're a lot of us men were raised a certain way to be tough and to be, to never show like weakness, and
Hmm.
vulnerability. And but when you are in a group with other men who tell you that you have permission to be vulnerable,
Yeah.
that you are allowed to, take a breath, take
Hmm.
a moment to regroup, and to find your strength again, to know that that's okay, to give yourself permission to to express your weaknesses and to express like your work in progress. We're all works in progress. We're all getting better at this life thing as every day passes, and we're just constantly in. I mean, at least for me, I'm constantly in pursuit of happiness. That's where I find my center. That's how I define
Hmm.
success. You
And
know.
do you believe that happiness is better than sadness? Did you
Hmm.
ever pursue sadness as well?
Well, when I think of happiness and sadness, I think of balance. And when I think of balance, I think of the yin and yang symbol and how
Hmm.
beautiful that symbol is, right? Because you have that organic shape, and it's black and it's white. Um, so yeah, there's a beauty in sadness too. Beauty reminds you that you're human, that you have a heart, that you're feeling things.
Hmm.
You know. So um, there's a lot of inspiration in sadness when you come out of it. For
A lot
me
of
as an
love
artist,
songs have been written in
a lot of
sadness, no?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
We know a lot of them.
yeah.
And what I think what comes up for me is like, because you were saying pursue of happiness,
Hmm.
and it's like even this famous quote, but when we are sad sometimes, and this happens to me, we're looking directly for this like escape to the happiness. What can make me happy? I go to the gym, I talk to a friend, I have sex, I don't know, whatever makes us happy.
Hmm.
But my mentor, for example, he says hold the tension, in the sense of hold where you are, don't escape, don't find something else to distract you. If you're sad, feel it, go into it. As you said, find the
Hmm.
inspiration there, go into the lowest point that you can go,
Hmm.
because there you will get the gold nuggets to go to the top again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look at what happened with me and my brother who jumped off. My brother who passed away. That was a very dark period. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I there was a time where I wasn't even really. I would speak very few words. I was just really cold and closed off, and I had to sit with that to yeah to grow out of that. And that's one of the first lessons I learned in checking in with my heart and checking in with
Mm-hmm.
myself. But I needed to go through that to have my awakening to give myself permission to speak to the world and to share what my brother passed down to me
Mm-hmm.
with his words. And yeah, it was one of those lessons where you're right. You have to. It's good to sit in that sadness and and just, you know, just check in with it, you know, just check in with it and with yourself. And that's a moment to learn. That's a moment to learn.
Mm,
It's an opportunity there.
thank you.
Mm.
And just a few more questions. So, talking about the sad moments, if you want to speak about a happy moment in your life, if now you could name the happiest moment in your life, and what made you, yeah, what you got out of that, is there something you can mention?
Yeah, man, there's I'm trying to think. It's I mean, I've been around the block for a minute now. Yeah, there's this. It's hard to say. Man, I've been very blessed, man. I've had a pretty good life so far. It had a rough start, you know, growing up in the Bronx and in Washington Heights in New York, and you know, it's you know, not a lot of people are my age that grew up there. You know, a lot of people didn't make it.
Hmm.
So just even like this moment right now is a moment where I'm happy. I feel fulfilled. You know, I have a lot of love in my life. But I mean, pointing out like specific moments. Look, like to me, like my art and my passion is like just the thing that I'm most grateful for because it really saved my life. Like nothing else would have happened if it wasn't for the inspiration my brother passed down to me.
Mm,
Because I literally was gonna go down a really dark path
yeah.
until I found his books and I woke up and I was enlightened. So to me, I would say, even though I wasn't so happy when that moment happened, I was very inspired. I would say that's one of those moments. And I think uh, 14 years later from that moment, uh, that year after my brother passed away, I had a dream that I was in a desert performing. Fast forward to my first Burning Man, my mother calls me on my birthday. My birthday happens during Burning
Yeah.
Man. My mom calls me 14 years later and she says, "You remember that dream you had 14 years ago?" And I was like, and my mother said, "I think you're at where your dream was."
Wow.
It was 6 o'clock in the morning, September 3rd. I started crying. My mother's on the phone with me. She's like, "I love you,
16,
son."
2016 was
It
that?
was 2016.
16, I was there as well in
Yeah.
Burning Man 2016. Powerful, yeah.
It was, yeah, that
Yeah.
was amazing. That was my first one. And it was an amazing way to just celebrate how everything came full circle.
Hmm.
You know, yeah, I was really in a good place by then.
Thinking about the dreams, like sometimes I believe like we have dreams and then we let them go, and then they happen, and often we forget that this was our dream.
Hmm.
Like me now, like sometimes I'm also unhappy with some things happening in my life and where I am and whatever. And then I look back and I'm like, wow, man, you were dreaming of this when I grew up in an industrial city in Germany. The beach was thousands of kilometers away. I'm like, I have the beach in front of my house. I have amazing people. I do what I love. This was my dream when I was 12, 15, 18 years old, even when I was 20. So sometimes the dreams happen and we don't even realize that they accomplish.
Hmm.
So it's good to keep track of what we're dreaming and to be careful what we wish for, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
To close it up, I mean, I could go on for hours with you, and
Yeah.
I think you
It's okay.
you
Take it.
realize. But to make it a little bit short,
Hmm.
like if there's one thing that you would do different in your life, or something maybe that you're sorry to say so, but ashamed of,
Hmm.
if there would be something that you would have done differently, what would it be?
Um, I think there was a lot of uh, there were some women in my past that I weren't very kind to,
That's a
and
topic that always comes up when I
yeah,
ask this question. So
yeah, yeah,
interesting.
yeah, because you know, there was a time where I was so hyper focused on my career and my
Hmm.
life as an artist that I wasn't fully present for people that cared about me. Um, and I'm saying also not just lovers, like even like my mother. You know, there was a time where I didn't speak to her for like 2 years.
Because you were in your movie, in your things.
Yeah, it was just like I let, you know, something she said trigger me to the point where I couldn't speak to her for 2 years. And
Wow.
that's my mother. That's the person that gave me life. You know what I mean?
I'm a father. I know what it means to be a mother because I see it every day.
Hmm.
She did a lot of work
Yeah,
for you to
yeah,
be here today.
yeah, yeah, man. So I think I would definitely, and I'm grateful that I've learned from that. That I worked very hard at like becoming a better listener and and to yeah and to approach all of my relationships with peace, with balance, with an open mind, an open ear, an open
Hmm.
heart. You know, because there's always a solution to conflict. You know, so
Mm.
I think yeah, I think going forward because I can't change the past, but what I can change is how I move forward. So moving forward, I'm aware and conscious that I could be a better listener. I could be kinder. I could be more present. You
Mm. And a better man and a better son and so
know?
on. Amazing. I think that's a very good mindset
Yeah.
around that. To learn from those mistakes and to be more honest and more direct and more caring and loving,
Yeah.
especially
Hmm.
to women, they deserve it.
Yeah.
And the same as we deserve it as well. But they need some extra care, and
Yeah.
that's beautiful. And so, what is next for you? What's coming up? Any like, I know you're flying to Costa Rica and you have some gigs, but is there anything exciting that you're looking for to close it up?
Yeah. So I'm working on some really cool projects right now. Um, on March 23rd of this year, just in about a little less than a month, I'm releasing an EP of remixes of my biggest song, Kema. Uh, we've had the pleasure and honor of having like Nicodemus and
Hmm.
At Jazz, Zell, Mike Stevo, Yobi, even my brother Q Violin did a amazing remix for the EP, and yeah, it was 5 years in the making since the original was released, and the song is people still loving it, and so it's good for the fans to like bring a new, a new take on something they love. So,
Yeah. So
so
it's still
I'm excited about
burning.
that. It's still
It's
burning.
still burning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's beautiful lyrics too in the song. It's basically about like burning your spirit and finding your new life and your new self out of the ashes.
Like
So
Phoenix.
yeah, like a phoenix. So I'm really excited about that project and a couple other things in the works too that I'm really excited about as well. But right now we got our attention and focus on that. The song Legacy too has
Love that
been
song.
a thank you, man. It's been a really big cultural impact, especially with my people of color. Like we feel seen and present, and we feel seen through that song, and especially in the electronic house music world, we're getting played by some of the songs getting played by some of the biggest names, and
Hmm.
it's quite beautiful to see somebody like whoever Solomon or whatever like play that song and people singing along to it, and it's a song that means a lot to me for the content of its lyrics.
Yeah, because folk comes is like in the when the people are dancing in these massive places, and some of them are on substances, some not, but most of them they are open to receive. And if you're infusing them with that information through music, you know,
Hmm.
that's so powerful because people are receptive there. People are usually not that receptive when they're in the office space with lots of tasks to do. But if they're somewhere dancing and letting go, their heart is open.
Mm.
And then these lyrics, they have an impact through the vibration, through the wording, through the intentions. That's how you change people. And
Yeah.
that's you have 10,000 people lined up in front of somebody like Solomon. That's powerful. So I'm so happy and grateful for you to put out that music and to make it that far and to, even if it's in a small scale, changing and altering people's lives on a positive way. You're making an
Hmm.
impact through your music,
Yeah.
through your poetry, and I'm so thankful for the time that you took today also
Yeah.
in your schedule for me. And hopefully, this podcast will reach as many people as it has to reach.
Yeah.
And if we can only change the perspective of one person, I think it was worth this hour that we took here to
Absolutely.
make that. And I wish you all the best in the future. I will follow your journey,
Likewise, brother.
and I
Thank you.
hope that we see each other often here in Tulum or anywhere else on the globe. Hopefully in Burning Man this year,
Yeah.
and that we can celebrate together live and tell each other what things are
Yeah.
going on.
Absolutely, man. I'll see you soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Appreciate you, brother.
And thank you for listening and for taking your time for this podcast. We'll be making more content. Please follow also Oveous on all socials to get some good music into your system. Have a beautiful day. Peace and love.
Peace and love,
Take
y'all.
care.